Thank you, Stephanie. So welcome everybody to our 1 hour webinar today, where we're introducing the new Healthy Aging Framework digital tool. So very excited. While the Healthy Aging Framework isn't necessarily new, it's been around for a few years now. What is new about it is that we've digitized it to make it more accessible and have a broader reach across the province, and to help community-based senior serving organizations across the province to talk about and articulate their programs. So just before we get going, though, I wanted to acknowledge the land that we're all coming from. And because this is a provincial webinar, there's folks from all across the different treaties in Alberta. In the spirit of our journey to promote reconciliation, I would like to honor the truth of the shared history and acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. So I'm reaching all of you from Bonnyville, which is in Treaty 6 territory. If you'd like to pop into the chat, which your land acknowledgement, please feel free to do so. So just a few housekeeping items before we get going here. We do have a full house, and so in order to save bandwidth, if folks want to turn their cameras off and mute themselves while we do the presentation, that would be fantastic. We will have an opportunity to do questions and answers towards the end of the presentation, where you'll be able to unmute yourself, turn your camera on, and allow us to see your face as you ask questions. We have tech support today, so Stephanie will be our tech support who will help to let people into the room and monitor the chat on my behalf as questions come through. If you click the participants icon, you'll see an option to raise your virtual hand. And so we'll be inviting folks to do that during the Q&A time. You're also welcome to use the other buttons to communicate, such as a thumbs up or a heart. If you love what you're seeing, feel free to use those emojicons. And then in the chat as well, we encourage you folks to use the chat box, as I see a lot of you already are. So you can put in your questions in the chat box, or you can use the Q&A feature on the toolbar just on the bottom of your screen. And a reminder too that this presentation is being recorded and will be shared on Core Alberta. If you are only able to stay for half the time or just a couple minutes, you will get the full presentation shortly after we're all done. So what to expect today? So we're going to do an overview of the Healthy Aging Framework digital tool and its components. I'll be able to do kind of talk about how you plug into the framework. I'll lead a quick Healthy Aging Framework demonstration and show you exactly what it looks like on screen, and then you'll have an opportunity to try it yourself. And once you have tried it yourself, we'll open up some questions and answers, and you're welcome to share some feedback on the tool itself. So again, the digital tool is here. So why does it matter to have a digital tool? So community-based senior serving organizations across Alberta are doing some really incredible work. But how do you show impact, strengthen funding requests, and connect with others in the sector? Well, this is what the Healthy Aging Framework digital tool aims to do, is help to make those connections and show that impact. It will help you to organize and communicate your programs, map out your activities to outcomes and impacts, and it also helps to provide that shared language that helps to strengthen sector collaboration. So what's inside the framework? So the tool guides you through 5 components, which are the determinants of healthy aging, service areas, activities, outcomes, and impacts. We'll go through in detail each of the 5 components now. So the determinants of healthy aging. So there are 6 determinants of healthy aging. And so these determinants of healthy aging were adapted from the World Health Organization's social determinants of health. And these buckets really help to help us to understand the factors in our social life that impact overall health and well-being. And so within the six determinants of healthy aging, we have physical and mental health, social support, physical environment, social environment and engagement, personal well-being, and safety and security. Within under these determinants of healthy aging, we also have service areas. And so these are the larger groupings of activities or broader categories that help you to plug into the framework and kind of give you an idea of a broader sense of what is part of the determinants of healthy aging. So, for example, we have transportation, housing, and home supports. Under security, there's personal safety, financial security, vocational training and support. So you'll see there's quite a few different service areas that you can choose from. These categories are broad and they're designed that way so that most organizations are able to plug into the healthy aging framework at one point or another. Then from service areas, you'll see as these buckets tip over, more and more is starting to come out. And so under the service areas, we have those very specific activities that are linked to service areas. So for example, under home supports, as a service area, the activities that are included under that might be snow removal, housekeeping, yard maintenance. Or maybe under brain health, some of those activities might include crafts, education, classes, performing arts, Minds in Motion, some of those programs that you might be used to that help keep our brains sharp. The next is outcomes, and this is really the why. And so with each of the activities listed in the Healthy Aging Framework, there are really specific outcomes attached to each of those. So for example, with home supports as a service area, one of those key outcomes is that increased ability to manage the activities of daily living. So it helps us to begin to articulate why we are doing some of these activities within our organization. And that why it helps us to explain when we're asking for grant dollars, when we're promoting our programs to community, or maybe bringing information to town and council or your municipality on the importance of the work and why it is important that your organization is doing it. Then we dig a little bit deeper with the impact, and this is the how. So this is really the most significant point of connection for service provision across the sector. So what does that mean? So the oftentimes as community-based organizations or smaller grassroots, we know why we want to do some of these activities, but oftentimes we can also share the how. So that increased ability to cope with challenges, increased capacity to live independently by enhancing physical wellness. These are kind of those big, broad impacts. And the reason why this is a connection point is because there could be multiple organizations in a region or a community, and they're all working on increasing capacity to live independently by enhancing physical wellness. And so once you start to use that shared language, you can identify perhaps there's a duplication in service. Perhaps some of us are doing the same work, but just out of different buildings. And so when we have a language that we can all connect with, it helps to bring forward some of those opportunities for collaboration and kind of opening up that conversation to the services available within your region or within your organization. So now that we've gone through the components, just kind of highlighting that the framework is very practical and it's accessible. And so it is designed for community-based organizations or allied sectors who have a touch point in older adult services. And so there's two ways that you can access the Healthy Aging Framework. One, of course, is the virtual one that we're going to be leading you through today. But there's also in-person workshops available. And so this comes with a large card deck and an activities book, the Healthy Aging Framework Primer. And both of these are led by a regional community developer from your specific region or area. After today, you'll have access to the full tool with the link provided, and you'll be welcome to use this tool within your organization because you've had a little bit of training on it today. If you want to dive a bit deeper or you have questions, do connect with your regional community developer, and they'll be able to guide you through. The in-person workshop, like I said, it has that deck of cards, and so it is quite physical. And so you get to kind of move around the room. It's a good workshop setting, and you can apply the framework to your current programs. Perhaps you're looking to develop some of your programs further. And this will all help towards that, as well as it can support with your strategic planning for your organization. So in January, I believe we'll be doing another Healthy Aging Framework digital tool session where we're going to focus in on how the framework can be used in strategic planning. And so our team lead, Rebecca, will be joining me for that one. And she's done a lot of work with organizations around strategic planning while actively using the Healthy Aging Framework. So plugging into the framework, so the way that it's designed, you can plug into the framework really in any of the five components. So it really depends on what you know right in the beginning. And so you begin by identifying your areas of focus within the determinants of healthy aging. Perhaps you know the service area, such as an outdoor activity that you want to focus in on. Perhaps you know you want to do outdoor gardening with a group of older adults in your region. But how do I talk about that? How do I talk about outcomes? How does this impact the determinants of healthy aging? So you can start with the activity, and the framework will begin to lay that out for you. You can identify the outcomes that match your organization's mission and vision. Or perhaps you have a grant, a New Horizons grant that has come across your desk and you want to apply for it. You know that $25,000 can go a long way. You have some ideas. Well, you can connect some of the outcomes from that grant and those indicators to the outcomes in the health aging framework and kind of build backwards from there to develop a program that meets the need of that grant. And then you also get that, or you can start in the impact statement, which showcases the activity. So I have an example here playing off of the outdoor garden. So like I said, it might be hard to articulate the importance of an outdoor garden to a funder or to the municipality to invest some money into it. And so to just say, we would like an outdoor garden because I really like being outside and the seniors in my community enjoy potatoes and making pierogies. Well, that's all good things, but that might not be what a funder wants to hear. So how do we dig a little bit deeper and also create a bit of a building block to support your evaluation of your program? So rather than just saying we need an outdoor garden, instead you could write a memo or say to someone, our organization has identified that there's a gap in service to older adults to age well through their social environment and engagement. Based on what we heard, older adults want more outdoor activities and want to start up a community garden. Older adults feel this will enhance their quality of life and increase their ability to enjoy nature. The impact of this program will be measured through the sense of meaning, purpose, and connection to the larger world. So you can see right away how the different components of the framework that are highlighted in that navy blue color were all built out to help you to really be able to talk about your programs in a succinct way and also begin to have that shared language across other organizations in your region. So now you folks will have an opportunity to give it a try. And so you can scan the QR code. I tested it. You can use it on your mobile device. And so if you're on the go and really need to know how am I building out this program before I get to the meeting in 15 minutes, you could do it right off your phone. Stephanie is also dropping a link to it into the chat as well. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a quick second, and I'm going to jump into the tool myself and do a quick demonstration for you folks. There we go. So when you click onto the link, my apologies, I lost my screen. There we go. Um, Stephanie, can you give me a thumbs up if I'm on the web page?
Yeah, you're on the right page.
Awesome, perfect. My windows switched around. So when you click on the link, it's going to take you to the Health Aging Framework digital tool welcome page. So you'll just put in your organization's name here. So I'm going to use Healthy Aging Alberta. And then you're just going to input your email address. And the reason why we're taking your email address is that you're going to get a summary of the framework once you're done working through it directly to your email. And this will also allow me to do a bit of follow-up as well after about 6 months of engaging with the digital tool to see how you're utilizing it within your organization and just collect a little bit of feedback on the usability of the framework. So once you put in your information, you can click to the next page. So that gives a bit of a history on the framework and its use. There is a how-to video, so if you can right-click on it and open the link in a new tab. Just a heads up, if you do click the hyperlink, it'll pull you out of the survey, unfortunately. So the only way we were able to do that is just a reminder to right-click and open in a new tab. Same with the resource here, the Health Aging Framework Primer. This is a booklet that comes with the workshop in person. And with the digital tool, it's available here. So right click and open link in a new tab. The primer gives a lot of detail about how the health aging framework was created, its use, it dives into strategic planning, and it has some great appendices in the back that help connect all of these components together. So do encourage you to keep this open kind of on the side of your desk as you're working through the tool. And then from here, you can start with any of the 5 components. I'm going to start with activities. Oftentimes, organizations find it easier to start activities because we know what we're doing at our organization. It is kind of an easier place to start. So here in the search bar, you can either click yes and find the activity that you would like to focus in on. And there's a huge list from bingo to clubs to crafting to emergency planning and preparedness, employment services. The list quite literally goes on and on. So do take a look. Perhaps you have an idea of what you want, and so you can start to type it here. So maybe I want something to do with a coffee chat, or maybe crafting. So as you start typing, you'll see crafts come up. And so now I can start with that activity. Go to the next page. It'll prompt you to now choose your service area. So we know that the service area, because it's kind of doing the work for us, that's connected to crafts is social interaction and connection. It also tells us that this is connected to the social determinant of healthy aging, social environment, and engagement. Next, we can select our outcome. And so there's a quite an extensive list of outcomes attached to this service area. And so we recommend to pick 2 or 3 that best suit what you're looking to achieve through this program. So increased social connectedness makes sense, reducing isolation, and increased opportunities to have fun and enjoy life. That sounds like a good outcome I'd like to report on, so I'll select that one as well. Next, you choose an impact statement. So depending on what the focus of this activity is, you can choose that how or impact statement. So reducing the risk of isolation, increasing sense of purpose and belonging, or increasing that sense of meaning, purpose, and connection to the larger world. So based on my outcomes, I was focused on isolation and loneliness. So I'm going to choose this impact statement. And you go to the next page. So now you get a really great summary of the framework of your activity crafts. We know that it's social interaction and connection. It's connected to social environment and engagement. That intended outcome is increasing social connectedness, reducing isolation, and I can talk about the impact of that reduced risk of isolation and loneliness. So I'll give folks maybe just 2 minutes here or maybe 3 minutes to click on the link, try it out, and just play around with the tool a little bit and see how it's working for you. And then we can enter into some Q&A. hope folks have had the opportunity to try out the digital tool or at least get access to the link. I do recommend the link that Stephanie had sent to you. You can save that into your toolbar on your whatever web browser you're using and save it as a favorite. And that way you can come back to it as often as you'd like to. Um, yeah, that's just a helpful tip that I have done myself and has made life much easier. Just a reminder too, so if you do want to dive in a little bit deeper, you have some really specific questions about your region. I see Nara and Stephanie have posted in the chat the direct email for a regional community developer. If you're not sure which zone you fall within, you can do our general info at healthyagingalberta.ca. And our team will be able to connect you to the right regional community developer. As well, when you complete the Healthy Aging Framework digital tool, you're going to receive that summary email, and then you're going to receive one more email that's asking for feedback on the actual tool. And so I do encourage you to follow that link, do complete the survey, and let us know how it's worked for you. And there's an opportunity to provide any feedback on the tool itself. So I'll open up to questions and answers. I'll stop sharing my screen for that. So if you do have a question, if folks want to unmute themselves, feel free to do so or use the Q&A function or the chat box.
So we have one question here in the Q&A from Lisa. I work in an assisted living community where the activities and events are focused on the seniors living just in our building. From what I see, this framework would be used for those events that are open to the public. Is that right? Question mark.
So I would say yes, and so it really depends on the organization. Some of your activities, so if you are working in kind of a care home setting, and you have an active aging coordinator who's planning to do activities with older adults or seniors within the lodge or some type of living setting, you can absolutely use this tool to help to develop those programs. Because these are linked to older adults and the determinants of healthy aging. So whether it's kind of a closed group or a more open group for the whole community or region, you can use the framework in either way.
Okay, thank you. We have another question of if we're sending out the PowerPoint in the post email. We are sending the recording out in the post email, but Michael, I'll let you answer the question of additional links of what's going in the post email in addition to the recording.
Yeah, good question. So I I think that we can send out the PowerPoint. Like the PowerPoint will be able to be viewed through the recording as well. But I can look into attaching the PowerPoint as a PDF to send with the follow-up email with the recording and the other resource items.
Okay, and the last one that's come through is more of a comment than a question. There's some glitches there. The back button is having a few glitches with disconnection. So
Oh,
we'll look into that, Bacola, and find out maybe what's
yeah.
going on there. See if we can recreate that for. Okay, there's a new one that came in. Thanking for the demonstration. And does the framework include anything focused on measurement?
So I'm going to assume by measurement, you're kind of talking about like evaluation or the impact of the program. And so you can use the outcomes piece as measurement for your programs. So those specific outcome questions that are listed can help to frame the questions that you're asking your participants within a program. So for example, perhaps an outcome is that older adults feel the program has enhanced their quality of life. You could put in your questionnaire or in your post-activity feedback form, did this program help to enhance your quality of life? Or did this increase your ability to enjoy nature? So the outcome statements can become outcome questions that can help to be an indicator for your evaluation.
Thank you, Carol, for that question. I think that's all for questions. Folks, does anybody else have any further questions here? Please type them in the chat, put them in the Q&A if they're coming up. And again, we gave you that RCD list of contacts. So if after this session a question comes up after you've played with it a bit deeper with your team, our team is, of course, here to answer those questions. Okay, we have one from Lisa here. I'm looking for an activity to identify bringing in live entertainment or
Mhm.
music, but I can't find an option. Suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one piece of the evolution of the health aging framework. So not all activities are necessarily going to be listed. However, if you can find an activity that is similar, might be a good way to go about that. Over the next year, we're hoping to evolve the framework to include more activities based on the feedback that we get from all of you who are using the tool, as well as connecting some of the activities to some more cultural groups such as Indigenous, having things like crafting, hunting, fishing as activities that contribute to healthy aging. So some of those activities may not be listed necessarily. I'm just taking a kind of a look here at the list of activities that might be able to connect to that. Um, So that could perhaps fall under, so something like live entertainment could be recreational activities under social interaction and connection. And so it might not be perfect, but because there's so many outcomes associated to each service area, you should be able to build out something that makes sense. Even though it's not exactly, it's close enough that you can use that measurement and talk about the impact and fit it within one of those determinants of healthy aging. We also have under social interaction and connection special events and celebrations. So having live entertainment and music could also fall under special events and celebrations, which is still connected to social interaction and connection. So you can kind of see how there's overlap and how these are all interconnected with each other. Good, great question.
Mhm.
So if there's no more questions that folks might have, I guess we can wrap up a little bit early. The digital tool, that's kind of the beauty of it, is that it is designed to be quick and accessible. And so I think this kind of helps to demonstrate that, just how quick it is to access the framework and start to plug in your programs and be able to articulate them well, whether that's to funders or to community partners. We do encourage you to please complete the survey. So Stephanie has just dropped that into the chat. So do click on that. It should only take you about 5 minutes or so to complete, but your feedback is always valued and it helps us to do better every time. So please do click on that link and fill out the survey. And I guess we can conclude.